Christmas time is here. Got to find my cheer. There it is. Go get it. In the playoffs, stick with it. Welcome to the Podcast. Give it up for your hosts, Colin Goff and Eric Weaver.
And we're in it. We just love that. Love these jingles. Kurt is so talented.
Well. Quite the weekend we all just experienced.
Yeah. Week 15 was a brutal one for fantasy football and sports in general. COVID's just fucking everything up again.
Yeah, I heard, I guess this was yesterday's podcast, but the fantasy football focus, they said that Sunday, I think 47 people, or Monday, today is Wednesday. So Monday, 47 people were put on the COVID list, which was the highest single day total ever of putting people on the COVID list across the NFL in one day.
Yeah, that's crazy. It's all on Monday.
They obviously don't have it on Sunday.
Dude, actually, speaking of that, this is crazy. So I'll just hop into my weekend. It's very relevant. I went to college nationals for UCSB, Caitlin's final season on the skirts. And Carleton's men team, they came to SoCal a week early and had set up a bunch of scrimmages with some of the SoCal club teams. And I think they played like the Growlers, maybe even. And so, yeah, they didn't want like travel to be an issue. They wanted to practice in SoCal. The morning of Friday, pool play games, they get a positive COVID test. And so they like test their team and they had 6 positive cases on Friday. Team disqualified from nationals. Can you fathom the emotional roller coaster that would be like as a senior? First of all, your like last 2 seasons canceled. Okay, then USAU puts this fall season together and anybody who graduated the past year can play. Okay, cool. We get our season back, get to nationals. You're finally there. Nothing can go wrong. And then boom, to have the rug pulled out from underneath you. Holy Toledo. That's
especially
insane.
Traveling across the country beforehand, so I bring that up because the UCSD men's team also pulled out 2 days later or a day later. Like they played through their pool play games and then they had like a parent test positive. And I only know this because, not to steal your fucking thought, but I was the Southwest regional director for college men's, right? And so I've been helping with sectionals and regionals in the fall. Nationals, I have zero responsibility. I've done nothing. But they have me as a contact. And so like Friday night or Saturday night when I'm 3 hours ahead in Miami, like out drinking, I get this email from the Squids that's like, hey, we had this positive test. Just want to let you know. And I'm like CC'd with like a few other people. And I just don't respond, do nothing, right? I'm like, the proper people are CC'd here. Sucks to suck, guys. But full circle, it sucks for the Squids, obviously, but they only had to drive like 2 hours to get to this tournament, where Carleton, like you said, came a week early and did all these things, had to fly. And like, I think that's a little more emotionally heavy.
Totally, yeah. And financially, that's at least a grant, right? Plane tickets during a week before the holiday season.
Yeah, really.
Hotels,
December.
Airbnb, whatever. I mean, we got an Airbnb near Norco, which is where nationals were, just outside of LA. And it was like It was fucking expensive. It was like $300. No, it was more than that. It was like $560 a night for 4 bedrooms. Just like
Man.
holy cow. This is north. It's not like we're in Ventura or Santa
No,
Barbara somewhere
it's a
cool.
fucking-
It was like close to $3,000 for the weekend, all said and done. Just like that's crazy. And to have a full team of college kids trying to, get multiple of these, that's brutal. But anyways, focusing on the positives, it was really dope. The skirts did really well. It was the best skirts team that I've ever watched. I think even better than the Finney Kayla Marie combo.
Saying a lot.
Yeah, I think that truly the big difference, like if the skirts had a dominant thrower the way that team did, they would have been able to like win it all. That's
Mhm.
the West Coast curse is just not having capable throwers. Lots of athletes, nobody knows how to throw. And this year, actually really cool, the skirts had a bunch of YCC kids join up. And so one of the best throwers on the team is a first year rookie, which is incredible.
Great for the program.
Great for the program. Yeah, like at nationals in the semifinals, they get a D on the sideline. She's the one picking it up in a zone, right? Like that's
nuts.
crazy. Yeah. So that's really cool. The future is bright. They had some honey badgers. The 2 YCC kids are honey badgers. They're not like the jobber. I played before, and then
We all know those guys.
like
Or
I
people,
play
I should
offense
say.
only. Yeah, yeah. So that was super fun. I like found my way into being just the spirit leader of the parents. Like
Found your way. I bet you were all bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. Like, come on, gang.
Man, it was
Give me a
tough.
B.
Yeah. It's a lot of call and responses. It like evolved over time, right? Like in the past, I was always with Kirch, with my brother, with Bacon, and we'd be leading cheers together and just kind of like being goofy with it. And the parents were like, yay. This year, the parents were like, Weaver, we need you to lead us. We need you to tell us what to do. We're not capable of cheering without you. And so it like was kind of intense. And I actually wasn't sure I was going to be able to do this podcast because I haven't been able to talk the past 2 days. Like basically my body thinks that I'm ill, but it's just like I've got a sore throat because I just cheered so hard. So that was cool. Skirts got blown out in the semifinals. It was not close. They had some jitters. All the best players were just like dropping discs, and there's not much you can do to change that outcome. Yeah. Pretty crazy. North Carolina swept both the men's and the women's division.
Yeah. I watched a little bit over the weekend. I watched a good amount of the Georgia versus Slow stream on the men's side, where Calvin got injured and then they ended up losing on Universe.
Devastating.
No. That was the Colorado game, which I watched. I watched a little bit of the Slow and Georgia game too. It was cool to watch Colorado versus Slow because you got a bunch of those young aviators. You got Danny on the Colorado side, and then Calvin, KJ, Seamus, and Matt Miller on the Slow side.
Yeah, there was a lot of Sundowner boys out supporting the Slow kids, and just like Marcel, Laddie, Kirch, Bailey. Those guys were going hard cheering for the homies. It's so fun. It was a great weekend of Frisbee, and gosh, I'd be lying to you if I didn't like have the itch to get back into it. But now that I'm home and it's like time to like try to start working out, I'm like, I don't know if I do want to play.
Aviators only have 2 tryout weekends, the 22nd of January and the 28th of January, or whatever those 2 weekends are.
Yeah. And I saw that the season doesn't start until May. So that's actually a decent amount of time to get into shape.
Yeah.
That's crazy. tryouts 4 months ahead of time.
Yeah, that is really crazy. I don't understand that either. I also don't understand why the Aviators don't like add a third weekend, because originally they had 3 in January, like the Growlers have 3 identical weekends, and the Aviators removed the first weekend for whatever, probably space issues. But why not just add another one afterwards? I don't know. It's weird too. It's weird to have your tryouts and then be like, all right, see you in May or like whatever. It's
Yeah.
gonna be.
We're gonna have 1 practice a month for 3 months. It's weird. But hey, maybe it's just what the Aviators need. Practice a lot before the season
Well,
starts.
there was like 0 practice before last season, and they're pretty well considering. So more practice, the better.
Yeah. How about you, Buckaroo? What was your weekend like?
Yeah, let's see. I'm not going to go day by day because we fit a lot in since we spoke last on Tuesday of last week. But some highlights included going to that rooftop bar on the 40th floor in there's actually this area called Brickell. So there's downtown Miami and there's Brickell, and it's separated by like a bridge. And downtown Miami is like sketchy, a lot of homeless. There are like high-rise buildings, but a lot more just like shacks spread around too. And then Brickell is across the bridge, and it's like more picturesque, more beautiful buildings and like shopping centers. And Brickell is where we were staying, so we spent the majority of our time there. But yeah, we did go rooftop bar, did a sunset cruise around the harbor, and then past all these like mansions of like Ricky Martin and Shakira and David Beckham and fucking like Rihanna and the Bacardi family. And it was crazy. They're like, this house is that person's and this house is that person's. It's like, damn. That's something to aspire to, having some property on the fucking Miami waterfront.
Sounds like you're not far away, right? With your oil, your deep oil money that
my
you're
oil baron.
Your sugar daddy.
Yeah, I did some things over the past week I've never done before, but I have no regrets.
Blink twice if you need help.
We Chelsea and I went to the Jets Dolphins game, which is pretty fun. Rowdy atmosphere. It was actually a close game for a little bit. Tua played pretty terribly. He threw many interceptions, including a pick 6 that kept the Jets in the game for a little while. Eventually, the Dolphins pulled away. I got to watch Duke Johnson up in close and personal just fucking destroy the Jets on my bench. So that was great. I literally turned to Chelsea at one point, and I'm like, if Duke Johnson scores a 3rd touchdown, I'm going to bust. Because they were like on the 10-yard line, and I was like, God damn it. He didn't, but whatever. What else do we do? Saw Spider-Man.
Did you bust?
No, I did not bust. Once Julio was out, it was like, it's over with. A lot of weird things. I mean, obviously we talked about it was a weird week for fantasy, like in general across the board, but tons of weird things we can revisit when we get to the matchup reviews. What else did we do? Saw Spider-Man, which is really, really good. Have you had a chance to see it yet?
No, waiting for no good reason.
So, go see it. I'm sure it's playing at the Arlington. That'd be a baller place.
No, it's at the Metro 4. It's one of those things where like I'm kind of chilling for the moment, waiting for COVID results. I was just at like the sketchiest thing that I've done yet, and that includes, some of our travels.
Going to Austin.
Yeah, the bachelor party.
Okay, that's fair.
So I'm like, I'm trying to just like hide myself in the world. And so,
well, definitely something to look forward to. So it's really good.
I can't wait.
What else did we do? That's basically it. And then yesterday we traveled from Miami to Orlando and then to Central Florida, Dunellen, where my mom is. And we actually surprised my mom with my brother. So originally, and like backing up a few months, my mom was going to visit San Diego, and Chelsea and mine's new place, then the like pipe burst, and our vagabond lifestyle started in earnest. And at that point, we decided to go visit her because she was going to be all alone here. Then we decided to surprise her with bringing my brother, and she was pleasantly surprised. She's very happy. And so we're all here now. My mom and brother are out shopping. Chelsea's finishing up her work day. And I just got done wrapping a bunch of presents that I conveniently had shipped here. So I didn't have to like bring them on my travels.
Nice. Smart move.
Yep. That's the weekend.
Right on. Let's get into it, because it is during business hours for me. I need to get back to work.
Okay. Well, is that why you're not enjoying a beverage with me? Or is it your voice? Or is it
both?
both?
It's both. Yeah. It is 1 o'clock now. Originally, I had written off drinking because we were supposed to do this at 11, right?
Well, now it is 1. You said you never had a beer during the workday? Blink twice if you're in trouble. No, just kidding. Well, I have a nice glass of white wine that I'm enjoying right now. So I'll take a sip of that.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do my atonement shot. I'll grab a beverage. Be right back.
Yeah, grab that shot too. Let's see. What else how can we
I can keep talking while I'm away.
Oh, you can. Wow, he's gonna see your Christmas tree. I was just gonna say that this is another great podcast moment for us where we're completely prepared and we don't have to ad lib during the middle of the podcast.
Yeah.
One thing actually that I wanted to mention that I loved was Bacon sharing his Observer highlight in the group me, because I had seen that. I thought you were about to whip out your hog. There we go.
Yeah.
Yeah,
skirts. Yeah, skirts.
I had seen that play on Twitter. I saw it where the play is nuts because it's like Michigan was playing Georgia in the semis, I believe, and they're on the left sideline. And this guy throws like a giant, just cross field OI flick bomb, 60 yards, and the receiver caught it. Like we just caught the very end, but like the play is insane. And then he like spikes it, stomps it, and then I saw that online, and then the Observer gives him a card, and it's like going viral because like look at this guy immediately gets carded, and then Bacon shares. I was like, oh my god, that is Bacon, that's awesome. And I think Bacon is like the perfect model of an Observer because he's like been there, done that for like everything, right? I feel like a lot of observers have not been there, done that, and so you get. I mean, observers in general can be controversial, but then you get the ones that like don't have the clout, I guess. The Bacon, he's got the clout and he's been there, done that. So like unlikely this kid from Michigan knows who Bacon is, but I just love Bacon just having this standard and be like, sorry, kid.
Yeah, totally. I love what you're saying. Bacon is an AUDL champion. He's got some clout. He sent me a picture at the beginning of nationals with he and KPS just yucking it up. And KPS, for those who don't know, is one of the faces of the AUDL, right? So like people know Bacon, and he is making it his mission to bring credibility to observers, right? Like we've seen a lot of jobber observers in our days, especially early on, right?
Oh yeah.
And so you should have seen Bacon in action. When he's not actively observing, he's got a jacket on, not necessarily a suit, but he's looking formal. He's got his Lulus on. He has dress shoes. He looks like he's bringing a sense of professionalism to this gang rather than some like ragtag group of little giants that are observing because they can't make any team, right?
Yep.
So that was really cool. And then, to add color to that call, Bacon, the foul that he assessed didn't affect the game in any way too, right? So it's like, this is dope. It's not penalizing the great play that happened, but also you just spiked the disc. There's now a hole in the disc, right? There has to be some sort of penalty there, but it didn't like negatively affect the game in any way, which is
right
exactly what we want, like control the vibe of the game without taking control of the game. fucking NFL could learn a thing or two from bacon.
Well said.
Yeah. All right. Let's get into it, huh? Ooh.
Atonement section.
This is
are you-
embarrassing for
are-
you. This is
This is
embarrassing
actually
'cause
not the only debt that I owe.
you
I do.
called me out, motherfucker. You're like, don't forget our bet on Team Smuggy versus O'Mouse, and here you are, forgetting your shit. It's garbage.
You
Excuse my language.
got your shot ready.
I'm fired up. You know what? Now I am.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Let's see.
Are you gonna shotgun?
Yeah.
Hold up. I'm not gonna take a shot if you're not gonna shotgun.
So two things. One, I don't have a beer to shotgun. Actually, three things. Don't have one currently. Two, I have a pretty baller plan that I'm gonna do while I'm here this week. It's just not gonna be right now, but I have a pretty sweet plan. And three, two wrongs don't make a right. So you don't have to take my wrong and then do your own wrong, sir. But while you are up getting your alcohol, I have a shot of tequila here. It's a pretty healthy shot. I was kind of teasing this before we started, but my mom's place, she lives with my grandma. They are not hard liquor drinkers by any stretch of the imagination, or really drinkers at all. So I had to go like digging deep in some cabinets, and they had some like old bottles of vodka, some in plastic, some in glass, and I didn't want that. And I saw this tequila bottle, and I was like, oh, that sounds better. Looking closer into the bottle, oh hell yeah, tequila for the boys. It's a tequila day. There were little bits of things floating in the tequila, and so I had closer inspection. I saw that there was a broken cork. There's like broken cork pieces. This looks like what was like a nice bottle of tequila like decades ago, and now it's just left over. So what I did is I poured the tequila over a coffee filter into my glass.
Oh, wow.
And that is a hefty tequila shot, which I'm putting up to the camera right now so everyone can see. And yeah, my atonement is just that my shotgun to Bill, which that debt is still owed. I have no excuse. So Bill is coming. I promise it's going to be glorious when it does. I got your little gecko.
Yeah. The gecko shot glass from a place that doesn't have geckos.
Dude, speaking
Cool.
of geckos, they have geckos here, and there's little gecko poops around in this like sunroom that I'm sitting in.
That's dope. Gosh, randomly just thinking about natties, the bond that I've built with some of the Skirt's parents over the past couple nationals. My 30th birthday was in Austin, at Austin, Texas nationals, and there the fields actually serve booze. Like there's booze stations at every
you guys
field.
had frisbees full of beers you were walking around.
Yeah, that was Milwaukee. In Texas, there were margarita carts, and so one of the group of parents on my 30th birthday, just every time I finished, they had a new one for me, and so this was our final hurrah nationals. And so there was a bar, we went to it, and the girl's mom was just like trying to get me to take a bunch of tequila shots. And so this is, I don't know, fun random story. Cheers.
Cheers.
The old pre-lunch shot. Oh God.
What have I done?
Dude, my throat did not like that. Ow.
You know what you do? Take another one just to see if it was like a fluke or
Oh my God.
Okay, well now you can get your wish. Oh, actually, before we do that, definitely want to apologize for all the listeners last week. We recorded a little bit early because of just different stuff going on, so we weren't able to like gather like listener questions. So we'll get into the listener questions of this week right now, which I published, early in the morning. Okay, so there's the listener questions for this week. Now we can move on.
Yeah.
Pick'em challenge. Were you the one, or was it Adam or O'Malley in the group me that was suggesting we do some like playoff pick'em thing?
I think that they started it in group me and I backed them, but then I didn't do any work to like make things official.
Okay. Well, then I would love one of you dudes to like let's do something, right? Oh, yeah, keep that tequila down, Buckaroo.
Dude, my throat hurts so bad. I don't know if you can tell, but like my voice is leaving
Yeah,
me
a little bit,
actively.
little bit.
I love the mention of the listener questions and like our schedule, because like with the holidays and like you're on the East Coast, I'm on the West Coast, and like people are trying to visit, and we're recording on Tuesday late today, Wednesday at lunch hour. It's like doing what we got to do to get this content out for the fam.
Dude, once a week, man. We got it. We've been good. We've been good this year. We can sprint through the finish line. We can do
Yeah,
it.
baby.
But anyway, O'Malley and Adam, yeah, if you guys got an idea, let us know. Let's fucking do it.
I really like the idea that O'Malley had of like the playoff bracket versus the consolation bracket, shot bet, who does best. That was a really cool idea. Holy shit.
Oh, is that total points? Is that what that was that we read? It was just,
yeah.
Oh, wow. Whoa, it's like it's 6v6 then? It would just be like, or I guess whoever wants to participate. Like if your bracket does worse, you got to take a shot.
Yeah, I think that's awesome. Something
that's awesome and easy.
And easy. Yeah, completely agreed. I'm fully for it. And I don't think we need a poll. Everybody can drink in this league. I say we just do it.
All right, everybody's in. If you want to be in, you're in. And if this past weekend is any indication, the championship bracket is in trouble.
Yes, agreed. But this past weekend was a fluke for sure.
An anomaly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Duke fucking Johnson. Okay, let's see. Let's review. I have a little segment, but I think it's better shared later on.
Right on. I'm for it. Review. Let's start with the least boring or like the least surprising playoff bracket matchup. And I think that was Stu versus Scott.
Yeah.
I really don't think actually we can check this. I'm a league pick 'em. Scott was the heavy favorite, right? Going into this week. Oh yeah. Across the board, everybody who submitted picks and the league pick 'em chose Scott to win.
The Landry down under.
Yeah. Stu's team has been hurting for a long time. No surprise, limped into the playoffs, and it just fell over. He's going to be ruining.
Rue. He will rue the day. Yeah.
He rues the day that he didn't start Tyler Huntley over Josh Fields, which, like, who can truly fault him for that?
Oh, that's craziness. It's well, let's see. What did Huntley do? Because didn't he do holy shit, 35 points? I didn't even realize that. Yeah. Wow. Hot damn. Dude, the Ravens, how crazy. Back-to-back weeks of losing and the last play of the game on a 2-point conversion. That's nuts.
Yeah, that's nuts. And like coach is getting roasted for going for 2 instead of going for the tie and overtime. And I don't know if you've seen the clip, but before the final drive, Coach Harbaugh goes up to Huntley and he says, "What do you want to do? If we score, are we going to go for 2, get the win, or do you want to tie and go to overtime?" And Huntley is the one, he's like, "I want to go for the win. Like, let's put it away, And I think that that's such a dope, like, environment to put your player in. Like Huntley is having a career day. Like he's leading your squad to this comeback and potential victory. Like, I love that in a coach.
That is super empowering. I'm curious, under different circumstances, if Harbaugh would have still empowered him in that way. When we were watching, I think this was right before we went to see Spider-Man. We were at some bar having Al Pastor tacos, by the way, which are excellent. I literally had the same order 3 times in the 6 days that we were there. 2 Al Pastor tacos, chips and salsa, strawberry margarita, sugar on the rim, of course. But,
Sugar on the rim.
oh yeah, dude, salt. I'm not a salt on the rim guy, so sugar on the rim, especially strawberry makes. Anyway, beside the point. I'm sitting with Chelsea and her coworker, and they literally are like, "Why don't you kick it?" And what I said was, uh, "If you have a chance to win, you take it because you're not going to beat Aaron Rodgers, right? It's you have more of a chance of scoring 2 points from the 2 yard line than you do beating Aaron Rodgers in a overtime, like sudden death playoff, right? Like that's I think
Yeah.
I think if I was a coach, I'd probably make the same decision. And so that's why bringing it back is like I wonder if Harbaugh had made up his mind. Although at the reverse side of that coin, I could see like going to Huntley as like the second string, like young guy, like wanting to see if the moment like he was ready for that moment. I can see both sides, but like going for 2 to me makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. I think I would have done the same thing. You're already coming from behind, just like send it, right? Like I think you do the same thing if your team is away in a very like tough environment, right? Like get that, go for gold. Don't, yeah. I said what I needed to say. Anyways,
Let's keep going.
Jamar Chase putting up less than 1 point for Stu. That's been like his unsung hero and a major contributor to his success. That hurts. Michael Pittman Jr., the same actually, with 1 point. Whenever you have 2 players combined for such a small amount, like that's just such a detriment to your team.
Yeah.
I don't think any of us saw Sonny Michel keeping his job with Darrell Henderson coming back.
Definitely not.
That was a surprise to me. David Johnson, your team's in a bad spot when you have to start Dave Johnson. I debated that once myself. It's tough. Yeah. So, Stu, congratulations on a successful 2 years and making the playoffs again. Your time is over. Scott, the team is scary. I mean, in this case, the better team won, which, we're thankful for.
I don't know if I'd say I'm thankful for. I guess I'm thankful for that we have opportunity at a new champion. That's what I'm thankful for.
100%. Yeah. I can't handle another year of Stu's championship miss. All right. Next matchup.
Yeah,
where do you want to go?
We both had Scott to win in that one. And the coin also had Scott to win. I don't want to forget about the coin because I want to do this live. So 3 for 3 podcasters and coin. That's correct. Let's see. Why don't we do I think probably the second least surprising, which is Bacon v. Adam.
Yeah. Little flippy floppy.
And you're at Kinko Straight flipping copies.
Yeah. You know what? A big surprise for me this matchup, we thought that Bacon's running backs were matchup proof, and Alvin Kamara put up 4 points, right? We both
in a game they won.
Yeah, that game, crazy. 9-0. What the hell?
Yeah, I saw 0 of that game. That was like right when I was watching Spider-Man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't watch any games except for Tuesday night.
Hey,
but Zeke and Javonte taking on Fournette and Kamara, that's like the underdog, like the little giant moment for Adam's team. That should have been the rallying cry, and his team just did not answer. It's tough, and that's part of the problem with fantasy. You can have a couple of studs, but you need your whole team to produce. Getting a 10-point advantage in the defense position is huge.
Yeah,
huge.
Yeah,
that happened.
Green Bay again. Yeah, wow. A thought that I have is Adam and Mize trade. He literally gave me the option of trading him Rodgers or Burrow. I trade him Burrow. It was after Burrow had like exploded. Rodgers immediately got COVID, and that whole thing fucking happened. But like since then, Burrow has been like really inconsistent. And it could be like partially because the Bengals haven't needed him to do like anything really crazy. but what could have been, for Adam. Who knows if that having a Rodgers on his team as opposed to Burrow would have changed his fates a little bit. I don't know if it would have helped in this specific matchup, but Bacon was a scary team coming into this week, and he gets the W.
Mm-hmm. I'm a little surprised by AJ Green's like small usage. I guess he did get 8 targets, only 4 receptions. I was predicting he would be the benefactor from the Hopkins injury, since he seems to be, I don't know, in the same role. But Christian Kirk is the one that I guess everybody should have blown their load over.
It's a weird game, right? Like, how many people predicted the Cardinals would lose and then would lose by double digits to the Lions, right?
What?
Very strange. Definitely not this guy who started their defense. But anyway,
on the back of Craig Reynolds. What?
Right, and now both Williams and Swift are gonna be back. So
yeah,
nice game, Craig. We'll see you later.
Hopefully he gets a fat contract out of that performance in the past 2 weeks.
Coin chose Bacon. You chose Bacon. I chose Bacon. Actually, let's go to the league too here. Everybody chose Bacon who submitted picks, which actually is only 4 people at this point. Everybody else doesn't give a shit.
All right. Let's get into the other constellation. Let's snake back. Let's talk about you, Boo. Give me your raw emotional feelings. Instant reaction. How did your team perform this week, Gall? What went wrong?
I would say overall, I'm pretty satisfied with how we performed. I imagine us doing like a post-season like recap and kind of breakdown of each team. And I think one of my like ball and chains around my ankle was my my belief that Julio would be something. It's not the first week that this has happened. And even going back to the draft, I know we had talked about like if Julio can be this, then you're going places. And I kept going back. I mean, like getting 0 fucking sucks. Yeah. But like last week they were playing Jacksonville, no AJ Brown. Julio puts up a little over 5 points, right? Like he's like the wide receiver 1 in that offense, 5 points. Right now, total season, he has 25 receptions, 369 yards. I mean, he should miss this next week. Like, I'd be shocked if he doesn't. So, beyond Julio's output, I'm pretty happy. Arizona defense, I think, is bullshit. Like, I literally I had the Cowboys defense. I played them against the Raiders on Thanksgiving. They got me 5 points only because of a pick 6, and then I dropped them. And since then, I think the lowest they've scored is 15 points. So had I not dropped them after that performance against the Raiders, I mean, who knows where I would have been? Probably would have still played the Cardinals against the Lions. But like, that's a poor managerial move on my part. Although on the other side of that coin, St. Brown, Amon-Ra, the one true God, puts up 19. I'm pretty happy with that waiver wire pickup. Rodgers has been great over the past month. Chubb had a touchdown taken back because of holding penalty, which fucking sucks. Goddard has gone off like the last 2 weeks. So, like, all in all, I don't feel bad. I mean, obviously benching Duke Johnson and him going off is not great, but I mean, I'm curious how many people would start Duke Johnson knowing that Gaskin was activated.
Right. I wouldn't have.
Like, yeah, same. I was like, why would I do this? And instead I get a 1 target Julio who pulls his hamstring and is out. Right. A little bit of like consolation for me is like going down the list of like eligible people I could have played, like Fant, Guyton, and then Ronald Jones, 3 dudes on my bench who like I considered in that flex spot ahead of Duke Johnson, right? Like Duke Johnson was like way down on this list. They would not have changed the outcome of this matchup. So
Yeah.
I have like an eerie calm after this.
Mhm.
But
You know,
yeah,
it's fitting, right? Like you chose Julio relatively early in the draft, and it was one of those picks. You're either gonna fucking be a genius because you drafted Julio so late, or it's gonna murder your season. And here it's very fitting that he contributed to you being in the Sacco game, right? It's just he was your ride or die, and unfortunately, you've been doing a lot of dying with him.
him and Hopkins both for
Yeah,
2 out of my first 4 picks, just absolute trash.
yeah, and that's how you end up where you
That's
are.
how it
You
is.
know?
I know this is also uncharted territory for me. There's a little bit of like excitement, like, oh my, I've never experienced this. Like, what's
I
gonna happen?
know. God, a part of me, you know, I'll say this forever. Part of me wants you to lose just because of
I'm sure
how.
you're one of 11 people in the league that feel like that.
Yeah, the only one. But you know, Adam has changed the Sacco shot to be like an inclusive event with Noelle, right? Like, so she's part of Frisbee Touchdown indirectly in that regard, right? Like, personally, I would love her like heckling him a little bit more in the shot videos. But the reason that I want to see you win the Sacco is because it will get Chelsea more indirectly involved with the league and like care a bit more. And you know, it's it's a fun thought for me to have you two sharing a moment with Frisbee Touchdown with all of us, right? Because you know we're all family at the end
Yeah,
of the day.
yeah.
So it's cool to like be able to include Noelle and Chelsea in these situations.
Dude, speaking of family, and I totally agree with that. I had like a brain blast, like 5 thoughts. First one, so many Stanley faces I would get from Chelsea. If I'm like, hey babe, can you take a video of me doing this Stanley face? Second, yeah, we do have like an extended family with all the partners and whatnot. It's great to see that we're not just the 12, they're everybody. We got new member, like for instance, we know what Scott's girlfriend's name is now, another Alice, which is awesome. Third thought, congratulations to Evan and Alice because they freaking now
Yeah.
have those twins, Jane and Charlotte. Um, I was pushing for Eva as the second baby's name, and Adam also voted for that. So a little bit of a shocker that Charlotte won out. I wonder what decision went into that. But very happy to hear everybody is healthy and utilizing those cribs.
Gosh, this is pretty remarkable actually, because like if all of the offspring end up at the same college, they could, or even if they don't, this could be a nasty little mixed team coming together here. All around the same age range, like going through YCC together, going through college, club, and beyond. That's a fun thought.
Yeah, it's
Um,
fun.
just briefly, yeah, I don't know. Any more of the brain blast?
I just want to compliment Max on the high score of the week. Like his team showed up. Miles Sanders had a great game. Like going into the night, I was like, all right, he's up by like 20 points. Sanders has put up some duds. Goddard just has put up some like big numbers the last few weeks. Like there is a chance, right? And
Yeah.
basically every blow that Goddard got, Miles Sanders like answered back. So big win for Max. Tyreek Hill blowing up on Thursday night was not the best for my mental calmness, but cool to see him being engaged in the group me too after this win. So
Yeah.
congrats, Max.
And finally, drum roll, the matchup of the week. The matchup that all eyes were on, the main event of the evening. What an upset from O'Malley to Team Smuggy Smuggy. It's confirmed Dickerus flew too high. He was too smug for too long. And it finally
Only
caught up to
someone
him.
saw this coming.
if you've been preaching this first round exit for weeks now.
I'm the only person of the people who picked, including the coin, that picked O'Malley to win that matchup.
Did the coin pick Max or you?
Max, yeah,
Oh,
coin
wow.
picked Max. Yeah,
Wow.
coin went 3 for 4.
Wow, nice work, coin.
Brad being the only matchup that it got wrong.
Yeah, this was incredible, and being up by 50, heading in with 2 players left, like you have to feel super confident, except the fact that it's Cooper Kupp and he's putting up like a historic fantasy season, right? Like, what are the odds that this stack amongst them all is the one that O'Malley had to hold off? And then you have the element of like, he also has Odell. And so like Stafford could be scoring points, but so could Odell. And Odell just turned out to be a non-factor.
Nothing.
Cooper Kupp and Matt Stafford putting up 45 with 10 minutes left in the game and then going on to like score none for the rest of the game. That was insane to me. Holy crap.
That's nuts. I caught 0 this game as I was like flying, but it's crazy that Cooper Kupp can score 30 points and Matt Stafford scores 15 and a half. Like looking at that, that's wild. Also talking about that Thursday night game and Tyreek going off at the half, I think the Chiefs were down like 17-14 or something. And like everyone on the Chiefs is having a pretty like pedestrian day. And then Kelsey gets 2 touchdowns in like the 4th for them to win. Actually, I think that the game went into overtime as well. So like had that game gone a different way, Mahomes doesn't put up all these points that he does like second half and overtime. Smuggy might have survived.
And I think one thing that's really crazy, O'Malley should just feel so blessed to come away with the W, right? His receiving core, 3 receivers combined for 7 points and still got the W. And that doesn't include Najee Harris, who put up the biggest duck of his season. What? Like, you have 4 players that combine for 10 points and you still get the W? Let's go.
Dude, something that I was lamenting in my matchup is CeeDee Lamb's single-digit performance. Schultz gets one of those touchdowns, has 8 receptions. Robinson is the guy who we thought he was all season. He gets 16 points, even though they lose in that game by double digits. Yeah. Crazy game. And then on Brad's side, it was so funny. I mean, I've been calling Mike Williams Puppy Williams, right, when he does poor. And I was actually texting Brad before the weekend even started. And it was like, and Puppy Williams, he's like, it's not going to be Puppy. It's going to be Prison Mike, not Puppy Mike. And lesson 7, Patterson, who we've been lauding as the best waiver wire pickup all season, has hit a rough spot. Yeah, a lot of rough spots everywhere, but the stack produced and basically nobody else on his team did. Justin Tucker, like there's somebody. We talk about the Ravens going for it at the end of the game. Like, how many times is Harbaugh going on 4th down, taking away points from Tucker, not just at the very, very end there, but in general?
Yeah, pretty crazy. I mean, you combine Justin Tucker and the New England defense having their pedestrian games that they did, and that is enough for the win here. It's just like blow after blow for team Jiggy Jiggy. And obviously he's not going to like this segment talking about how his team underperformed, but it's a hell of a show. And I'll just introduce my hot take now. I think that team Jiggy Jiggy is going to have the high score for the remainder of the season. And he's going to look back on this week and just like mutter under his breath, like you did against our neighbors at the U, just like, if only Justin Tucker had hit one field goal and New England had gotten 1 interception against Carson Wentz. Turnover machine. How do they only put up 3 points against a turnover machine? That's crazy. But yeah, anyways, this was the upset that was inevitable because, when you're that smug, you start to get people cheering against you, and it's just one of those things that happens. It's cool. It reminds me of wrestling, right? O'Malley was the babyface. Not that we truly like him, but he was less of a villain than Brad and the smug this season, right? O'Malley is also annoyingly smug, and so I don't know if I want to cheer for him for the remainder of the season, but he was the lesser of two evils. It's like a presidential election these days.
O'Malley is an interesting story because he was in the finals last year and lost, and he is the all-time Sacco leader, I guess, most Sacco trophies on his mantle. So it would be a fun redemption story for him, but we can get into that later.
Did the coin pick?
The coin pick, Brad. Yeah.
Brad, thank you.
That was the only incorrect pick the coin made.
Wow. I loved this matchup because it came down to the last game and
last quarter.
Yeah. Just truly insane. This is the reason that we watch fantasy football. I'm sure that they had very different experiences being a part of it, but for us as not affected by it, it was so fun to have this going on, this extra element of like investment in that game. It was really cool. This is a reminder of why we play the game, to quote Jeff Probst.
I loved O'Malley saying that GIF in the group me. I'm straight up not having a good time.
So good. Oh man. And the game started off so slow for Stafford and Cup too. Like first quarter,
was it like 3-3 at the half or something, or like something really bad?
Yeah, it was not good. And then just an explosion of points, except for Odell.
Okay.
This week, huh?
Yeah, fucking semis week for the champ brackets, or as some may refer to it as the sackoship week. I say we start with the least interesting / most boring placement game of them all, which would be Jamar Laxton versus Team Jiggy Jiggy for 5th place.
Yeah, Team Jiggy Jiggy is gonna win. Next.
Okay, I have a little more analysis than that, but I like where your head's at. So Smuggy suffered his dickerous fate, but currently has quite the jungle bush. Is what I said. He's got fucking. Wonder if that's what his lady friend said in Africa when he coined this team name. But anyway, what do I got? They're both boomer bust teams. I guess everybody kind of busted last week, but I think all these players have super high ceilings and super high floors. Talked about Chase and Pittman on Stu's team. Hopefully he can get someone who's not David Johnson in his flex there, but also Mike Williams, Cordell Patterson, Josh Jacobs, like Barkley, all those guys can both be high or low. However, many of Brad's players are trending in the wrong direction. A lot of those aforementioned guys, although Gronk probably gets a boost because of all the injuries to the wide receiver room that they have there. So I'm also taking Brad. And that's that.
Gosh, actually, now that you mentioned that, I just want to comment on Gronk last week. 11 targets, 2 receptions.
Yeah.
Like if 4 of those connect, that's probably the difference in the matchup. That's crazy. That hurts the soul.
That really does hurt.
I mean, I think it's a possibility. It's definitely a possibility that Stu doesn't win another game, and that would put Stu on a losing streak of. Let's do some podcast math real quick.
Oh hell yeah, I love podcast math.
He's on a 4-game lose streak right now. Put him in a 6-game lose streak to round out the season. And
wow,
I think
which actually would tie for the all-time losing streak. I think both
Yeah.
Adam and I have 6-game losing streaks under our belts.
I'm sorry. This was the 5th loss in a row. So he has a chance to take over the record because the losing streaks on the homepage are only
Only a
for
regular season.
regular
Oh wow!
season.
So he has tied the all-time losing streak.
He's at 5.
Or was that 5? No, so
at
6 would
5.
be it. 6 would be the tie.
Yeah. Yeah. That's fun. So yeah, hot take. Stu's losing out, and Brad is setting high scores the next 2 weeks.
They only have one
Probably.
game. This is the 5th place game. They're done after this.
Well, if Brad sets his lineup in the championship weekend,
Oh, okay.
his team will score the most.
Okay. Touche. Let's see. What's another boring one we can do? Why
and
don't we
Bacon.
do okay, we'll do you and Bacon.
My team is hot garbage, and I'm very thankful that I'm not in the playoffs because it just would have been embarrassing. I think Bacon's gonna win.
You just say you're very happy not to be in the playoffs. After the last week, you're like, oh, woe is me.
Yeah, 100%. Because I felt like my team was stronger than Stu's, and then it put up like 0.1 less than Stu's team. So it was truly an abysmal effort from my team. So yeah, it's one of those things where I wanted the best teams to be competing to, I don't know, dethrone Bill, dethrone Stu. My team checked my expectations for myself. I think I'm going to lose the Bacon.
Well, I agree with you. I think you're hurting a running back, especially with the health of Cook and Titans RBs, right? You got Hilliard and McNichols working in there. What else do I got in these notes? Bacon has an interesting tinkering to do. However, it's very possible Bacon tinkers himself out of a win between Ertz, Henry, Gaskin, and Clyde Edwards-Helaire. He could work those guys into his tight end, flex, running back, fill in the blanks. Like, he's got some options. However, he's got AJ Brown returning with no hamstring Julio, so he's going to be a target monster. Another deep dive observation I made is that your receivers are quite sketchy.
They're so garbage.
Judy hasn't scored 10 points since week 1. DK hasn't scored double digits since Halloween, and Scary Terry is also on a cold one. So yeah, for that, I also think that Bacon's gonna win that matchup and keep you out of that 7th place game once again.
This is what my team does. It's just par for the course. I'm going for 8th place. Sick. Gross. That's gross. I'm upset.
Should we do the other one in that Max and Pebs?
Yeah, the other boring matchup. I went super deep on my analysis for this one.
Hell yeah. Let's hear it.
I think that Pebbles cares more at this stage of the season about the Fields of Broken Dreams than Max cares about Hooked on Stephonics.
Yep.
So that naturally puts the karmic push behind Max's team. And that's why Max is going to win.
That is deep.
Yeah.
I also am choosing Max.
Shut up. I think, logically it should be Pebbles' team, right? Like Tyreek and Butker are out for COVID. They have a chance to come back, but no. I think, like, on paper, I think Pebbles' team wins, but I can't choose logic in this one. But sorry, why do you think Max is going to win? Tell me why I'm wrong with my logic.
Well, no, I also think Max is going to win. Butker is out confirmed because he's unvaccinated, which is his Yahoo blurb says, which is unfortunate. But Hill does have a chance to come back, as does Kelsey in that Evan matchup. I think Max has a big QB advantage, Allen over Cousins, although they are playing New England, and Bill Belichick is a evil mastermind. Didn't stop all of his Bills from going off against me this past week, though, but that's neither here or there. Lockett also is in the COVID protocols for Pebbles. And Max currently, his Bush is close and doesn't even have an active kicker. Keenan Allen versus Houston is a pretty good matchup for Pebbles. But when I was looking at this, I think it's a toss-up, but I just have more belief in Max's players. I mean, Sanders had a good game. Michael Carter also on the COVID list, but I think Max has got options. Chase Edmonds is one of them, right? He's being incorporated more after coming off of his injury. But like Diggs, Hill, I guess question mark. Singletary is a lead back in Buffalo now. I don't know. I think that Max has the edge as far as talent on his team.
Nice. Yeah. Nobody really cares about this matchup except for Pebbles.
Average all-time finish. It matters.
It does matter. Woe is me.
All right, where else are we at? Let's say that. Well, where do you want to go from here? I guess we got
Let's go championship and then finish on the Sacko.
We done 3 games? Okay. All right, cool. Then let's do Bill versus O'Malley.
Oh, this is a classic trap game. O'Malley is currently projected 130 to Bill's 111. Sans tight end. These are we're not looking at the final rosters here for sure. I'm curious if Bill's going to play Jeff Wilson. We'll see if Darren Walrus comes back or not. O'Malley is going to get some much needed receiver help from Jalen Waddle coming back from the COVID list. And he knows he's safe on Monday night. You know, like today, like I feel like with all the COVID randomness, no player is safe unless they've recently come off the COVID list, you know? So like if you have a player playing Monday night, you got to have a backup just in case.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
To get the mystery or the surprise. I'm choosing O'Malley. And I think that this is going to be just such a fun matchup. Both of these teams are very good. James Robinson is finally getting the treatment he deserves. He's earned it. Najee Harris and Austin Eckler have been studs this whole season. Mahomes is finally, looking more like Mahomes. I think that it's really cool to me that like O'Malley has options. I've talked about this even with my own team about how fantasy changes when you have a deeper bench. And so it'll be interesting to see if Tyler Boyd gets the start over Chase Claypool, because Tyler Boyd has been a little bit more consistent. Claypool is boom bust, right?
Right.
It's nice to have those options and you feel like you're a little bit more in control of your own fate. It also is the worst because you often choose wrong, right? And Bill's bench is a little bit less robust, I would say. He has Jeff Wilson, which is great. Chuba Hubbard, also, like a solid play. But other than that, they're just, desperation play. So he has easy decisions to make. He knows who his starting roster is going to be. Like, I think he has one choice, and I think it's Jeff Wilson. Like that's it. But I'm rolling with O'Malley. How about you? What's going on?
Let's go through my notes here first. O'Malley has a jungle bush. Does Brad, except I think he's got a better squad overall. O'Malley's wide receivers are super questionable, but his running backs and tight ends have great matchups. You mentioned his running backs, Eckler, Harris, and even Robinson is going against the Jets after putting up 16 against the Texans. So like back-to-back great matchups for Robinson. Bill has questionable running backs. Plus DJ Moore also is kind of unknown if he's going to play or not. I also saw that Jeff Wilson Jr. is available, although he plays tomorrow night. So it could be an early, like he doesn't have the liberty of waiting until Sunday to make that decision. he has to make a decision tomorrow.
That's always so annoying.
I think this matchup could come down to how the QBs play. I expect the Chiefs to beat the Steelers for O'Malley. Sorry, O'Malley. And I expect the Bucks to beat the Panthers. And so what I have is how those teams go about building their leads. If it's like, through the air, and then they like run out the second half, or just on the ground, then they run out the second half. So the game can go either way in those directions. And I think that will ultimately decide who wins this matchup. My last note is that Bill currently has an extra player on his team.
Yeah, Austin Hooper just got activated today from the COVID list.
Sounds like an extra player to me.
He's not going to be able to make any moves until he gets rid of Austin Hooper. But it is crazy to look at these benches and to see 9 players on Bill's team. That's almost an entire full roster on the bench. What? Let's get rid of one of those. That's just unreasonable.
Both taking O'Malley. Shit! We have another entire fucking time. Damn it! All right, now we get now we got to go through all of them, and then we'll go back to the coin. We'll go back and we'll do it 6 in a row with the coin. I even have a note and everything. God damn it! Okay,
you even asked me to remind you. Shit.
Okay, next we got Evan and Scott. We're both taking O'Malley to win that one.
No.
Evan and Scott, maybe the more dramatic and fun one. What do you think?
Oh, actually, you start off.
Oh shit! Is that a new update?
That is the new update. Wow!
Oh my goodness! Wow!
Evan's team is taking some L's right now.
So what we're talking about is Brandon Cooks recently added to the COVID list. He had 2 touchdowns last week. Wow! Yeah, that's news. Well, before that,
mid-recording that happened. Wow.
I'm still taking Scott. This is the semi that we all want to see after that Swift and Evans trade. It'd be great to see if those guys do ultimately affect. Looks like Swift is going to come off the injured list for Evan. Mike Evans is more questionable for Scott, though, so we might not get both those guys playing in the matchup, but hopefully we do. Currently, their defense is a little bit interesting. I imagine some changes will happen. Scott went with Jacksonville against Houston last week. I'm curious if he will go with them again against the Jets after their lackluster performance against the Texans. I remember Scott actually picking them up last week. He currently does not have another defense on his bench. For Evan, he's got Buffalo currently in his defensive slot against New England, who is not as scary as an offense as one might think, but he also has the Niners eligible to play tomorrow night against Tennessee. And over the last 3 weeks, they've been the better defense than Buffalo has. So I think the special teams, but specifically the defense, could be a factor in this one. Other notes, the Kelsey news looms large. He could come back, but still on the COVID list currently. Antonio Brown back for Scott, and Godwin already is out. Mike Evans might also be out. So if Evans and Godwin are out, then Antonio Brown could put one of the final nails in our bet's coffin this week. Not even to mention that Gabriel Davis has been crushing on Scott's bench and is another easy play, especially with the Emmanuel Sanders continued injury. I think overall Scott has more solid options where Evan is a little more desperate and sketchy. And so because of that, I'm taking Scott.
Yeah, it's definitely a sad tale for Evan, right? Like he finally enjoyed success throughout the regular season, dominance, if you will. And then his team has just been ravaged recently. And it's tough fate to see, to watch, and I'm sure he's feeling it himself. Another like kudos to Scott for picking up Russell Gage,
Yeah.
who is finally starting to figure it out.
How many fucking zeros does this guy have this season? He's got 1, 2, 2 weeks where he had 0 points where he was active. Actually, I guess we can't really tell if he was active or not, but at least 1.
Yeah. And for the past 5 weeks have been solid double-digit performances from him. So Scott is Evan's team is on the way down, and Scott's team is the wild card Giants. So I also chose Scott. And it's really sad to not get to see a Kittle v. Kelsey matchup, because that's always fun.
It still could happen with the like updated protocols. If you're a vaccinated player, you just gotta test negative twice before the game.
Yeah.
So because
that didn't change though. That was always the case. 2 negative tests 24 hours apart. It's now the update, I think, was vaccinated players no longer have to get tested or something.
Asymptomatic
crazy.
Vaccinated players don't get tested. That's right.
Yeah.
That is crazy. Well, Kelsey's still got a chance.
Yeah. Yeah. Hopefully he comes back, because that's what we want to see. We want to see these teams like play each other, not like COVID ravaged teams match up, and then it's the survival of who got luckier with COVID. It's fucked up.
Yeah, I totally agree. I would say that Evan is not the only affected team by COVID, right? So it's like everybody has the same chance.
Yeah, it's true. Drum roll.
All right, before we get into this one, so we're at the sackoship, but I actually did a deep dive, one of a 2-part series, if you will. First part of the series is I went and looked at the historical Sacco mashups. I thought it'd be fun, now that I am experiencing my first, to go back to the annals of the modern era and just quickly revisit each Sacco game and the highlight of each Sacco game. I'm sure you'll think this is really fun too.
Totally.
Going back to 2013, we have the favorite O'Malley versus the underdog Evan. And I'm saying favorite and underdog by Bush points. The result was O'Malley won the Sacco, which means he lost. Highlight of that game, the Bush was actually 50-50 or like relatively close. Alex Smith threw for 5 touchdown passes for O'Malley. And he got 24 points from Dan Bailey, his kicker, and still lost for his first Sacco, at least in the modern era. 2014, we had Brad versus Pebs. Brad is the favorite. Pebs is the underdog. Pebs wins the Sacco, and this is the team that Pebbles has been saying is the worst of all time. It was the year that he was named the Graveyard. Brad got 27 points from Jesus Christ. Pebbles only scored 77 points in the Sacco game. This is pre half point PPR. But he scored 77 points and he got 34 points out of his kicker and defense. So 77 points, 34. So this is pre half point PPR, but I also think we still had 5-point field goals at this time. Mm-hmm. But anyway, a large percentage of Pebbles' points came from his special teams.
Wow.
2015, we have O'Malley as the favorite versus Bill, the underdog. Bill wins the Sacco. Bill gets 30 points from Antonio Brown, but has 5 players that combined for 6.1 points. Half of his roster combined for 6.1 points. Even though O'Malley got negative 1.7 points from Danny Amendola, he did not lose that matchup. 2016, we have Brad against O'Malley. O'Malley now is in back-to-back Saccos. Brad's in 2 out of 3 at this point. 2016, Brad's the favorite. O'Malley is the underdog, and O'Malley wins the Sacco. the total points for each team: 102.06 for Brad, 101.32 for O'Malley. This was the Crowder Gate.
Yeah, 24 yards, 4 receptions, 1 fumble lost.
And Brad gets 17 points out of the New England defense in that one.
Minus 1 for Minnesota defense. If
On the other side, yep.
If O'Malley hadn't started a defense, he would have been fine.
Now there is a fun fact. Hadn't started defense. He would have won even with the fumble. Wow. See, this is a nice deep dive, isn't it? Isn't it, guys? O'Malley, isn't this great?
Gosh.
2017. Go ahead.
There's some ridiculous names on some of these Sacco teams.
I know. Yeah.
Holy Toledo. Just, I'm loving it.
2017. We got Weaver versus Adam. Adam makes his first appearance in the Sackoship. Weaver is the favorite. Adam is the underdog. Weaver wins the Sacco. Adam gets 25 points from Foles, who outlasts 23 points from Gronk. And Weaver gets the Sacco in his only appearance in the modern era, which I think is another fun fact, because later on we'll get to most appearances, but there are people who've only been in it once and have lost, as opposed to the repeat offenders. But anyway, you're one of them.
I forgot that I lost by 0.6 points. Holy Toledo. And if I'd started Tyrod Taylor over Matt Ryan, I would have blown him out. That's crazy. I had Devontae Adams. Oh, wow. Oh my gosh.
And Gronk when he's producing.
This must have been one of my draft tight end early seasons. They don't go well for me. Oh, I had Bilal Powell, the Moist Owlettes. I went away from my namesake.
The Moist Owlettes.
With your boy Mike Davis. Wow, Mike Davis contributed to my demise. Huh, how fun. We have that in common.
We'll see if he contributes to Adam's demise this weekend, as he's currently on Adam's roster.
Oh my gosh, how fun.
2018, we get Stu as the favorite versus Bacon as the underdog. Bacon wins the Sacco. Fun name matchup in this one. It's Just Kill Me versus Justin. Stu gets 27 points out of Damian Williams, who was then with the Chiefs. Bacon gets 20 points out of the Atlanta defense, but cannot win. He is also one of the one and done Sacco winners. 2019, we get Evan as the favorite versus O'Malley as the underdog. O'Malley wins the Sacco. Evan gets 28 from Sequads. O'Malley gets 22 from Anthony Miller. Evan wins this one by 47 points.
Tough. Count Chocula.
2020, just last year, we get Adam as the favorite versus Max as the underdog. 130.12 to 126.22 final score. Adam is our current Sacco. Max gets 29 from Lamar Jackson. This is Ebron Gate, where Eric Ebron got injured and put up a goose egg. And Leonard Fournette and Melvin Gordon combined in this one for 42 for Adam. So that's a pretty high scoring Sacco affair. And then this year we have Adam and I, which we can jump into in just a second. Most appearances in the Sacco game. O'Malley's got 4 appearances with 3 titles. Or lack of, actually, is that right? 1, 2, 1. Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now he's got 4 appearances, 3 Sacco titles. Adam, after this year, has 3 appearances. Question mark on titles. Brad's got 2 appearances. Evan's got 2 appearances. Everybody else, you know who you are. You've had 1 appearance. Jeez. And now we get into the preview. So why don't you
Preview.
share first?
Hold on, I gotta navigate back to 2021. This is so fun. That was an awesome deep dive. I really, really thoroughly enjoyed that. How many do you have in front of you? How many times the Jungle Bush Point lead won, not like the matchup, not the Sacco?
When you're saying the favorite one, let's see.
Yeah.
So from 2013, we've had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 times in, I guess, 8 years has the favorite won the matchup.
Not good stats for old Bowling Ball. I think that, I have you winning the matchup, Adam retaining the Sacco. It'd be interesting to see what he renames the trophy to be nice to himself.
Wow, naming your own trophy. Is that gonna be the first time that's happened? Yeah, we never had a back-to-back Sacco. O'Malley flirted a few times, but let's see, never did it. And we actually get a name change from Adam currently.
Yeah, it's a really good one. If I die young, bury me in satin. He's on fire with these names. Definitely he wins the season on team names this year. Shoot, I honestly, like, your team should win straight up, but it's fantasy. You get the boost from the Leonard Fournette injury and Ronald Jones now being the person that they're running back in Tampa Bay. They're playing Carolina, tough fish defense. Chubster versus Green Bay, isn't it? It's supposed to snow. Yeah, it's supposed to snow that game, so it's gonna be a run-heavy game. Gosh, I think it would be a crazy upset if his little Giants take you down. Do you?
I think I'm also gonna win. Rodgers has found his groove over the last month. We talked about Burrow being a little more inconsistent. It's a fun comparison as our trade. Not only those two, but Gordon versus Williams for Denver. That game is going to have some implications in this matchup. In the spirit of Christmas, Adam has the island of misfit wide receivers. It's one of my notes. It's like a lot of these guys that he's starting. One caveat to that is MVS for the Packers is also on the COVID list. So the Lizard should get a bump in targets in that game against Cleveland. And yeah, the Rojo pickup, which I made on like Saturday, because actually it might have been like Thursday because Fournette was a little banged up. Couldn't utilize him this last week, but if he saves me from winning the Sacco, then I will be very happy with that selection.
Yeah, that's huge. I'm shocked that he was available last week. He was one of the higher, I think, handicaps to hold into the playoffs.
With that,
we
have a coin to flip.
Yeah.
Let's see if I can flip 6 times without fucking it up and dropping it. So I actually recorded a video last week, but it was too long for GroupMe. But basically what I said is this is a 10 peso coin. I don't have any quarters in my travel bag. Brad and I are going to Puerto Vallarta next week with others, as you were just there. And so it's fitting that this will be connected to those travels. So anyway, the heads is a Mayan or something symbol. I'm not really sure what that is. Tails is the golden eagle, which is the national bird of Mexico.
That's fun.
All right, we're going to start the championship bracket. We got O'Malley as heads versus Bill as tails. And we have tails.
Eagle.
So coin takes Bill. Let's have some fucking podcast math here. I'm just gonna put it in a note instead of trying to do that. Coin takes Bill. Next, we got Evan as heads versus Scott as tails.
I'll be the scribe.
All right, you're scribing heads. So coin takes Evan.
All right.
Consolation bracket. Let's go straight to the Sacco. Colin is going to be heads. Adam is going to be tails. Coin is up. Tails. Coin takes Adam.
Woo-hoo-hoo, you got to feel bad about that.
What the hell, Coin? Yeah, Coin took Max last week and it was correct. All right. Pebs is heads. Max is tails. Coin goes up. Heads.
Peebs.
Bacon versus Weaver. Bacon heads, Weaver tails. Coin is flipped. Tails.
Woohoo.
Coin takes Weaver.
Let's go.
Stu versus
Fuck you.
Jiggy Jiggy for fifth. Stu is heads. Jiggy Jiggy is tails. Nice flip. Tails.
Jiggy
Jiggy
jiggy.
Jiggy.
Yeah.
That's six. I think that's all of them, right?
Oh, yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay. Well, fun one. Exciting weekend for 3 matchups in the league.
Mhm. Yeah. Good shit today. I got to go back to work. We did a long one. It was supposed to be so
I know we didn't even do that much research beforehand. Kurt, thanks for the jingle. Fucking awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Remember, we got our Sacco versus championship bracket shot bets. Okay.
Yep.
And all right, see you on the other side, boys.
Yeah. Everybody set your optimal lineups. Let's go. Adios.
Christmas time is here. Got to find my cheer. There it is. Go get it. In the playoffs, stick with it. Welcome to the People's Podcast. Give it up for your hosts, Colin Goff and Eric Weaver.